Did I give someone permission to touch me? Did I give someone permission to do that to me? No, I didn't. And also, I'm a child, so I don't understand what is happening to me until I'm an adult and I reflect. If the people that are investigating the residential social workers are their colleagues, and I tell you this for now, it goes high up, because a lot of people that abused my friends were people in very, very top jobs within the social services.
And you're saying it's protected right up the rank?
Yes, it was.
The RAINS list is increasingly talked about by those who are becoming aware of the extent of satanic ritual abuse of children, handicapped adults and animals by men and women in positions of power. RAINS is an acronym. It stands for Ritual Abuse Information Network and Support.
Back in 2008, the Home Office sent a circular to all police forces in the country saying, as far as these young girls who are being exploited in towns and cities, we believe that they've made an informed choice about their sexual behaviour, and therefore it's not for you police officers to get involved in. If that's the landscape coming from the top down in 2008, rest assured all agencies are going to listen to it.
Leading psychiatrist Dr. Joan Coleman compiled it carefully in the early 2000s when she noticed how many of her severe cases in therapy would name the same names, the same stately homes and other venues, the same vehicles and the same techniques while recalling their abuse.
So explain, what exactly is SRA?
Satanist ritual abuse is a brutal form of mistreatment that is inflicted on children or vulnerable adults, and it involves psychological, physical, and sexual abuse, and it is done in the context of Satanist rituals, and it is normally, in most cases, done not as a one-off incident, but as a repeated form of abuse over a period of time, usually a period of years.
The focus of the RAINS list is on the south coast of England and on the period of the new Labour government.
And so if you want to reduce it further, you could say, as I often do, that it is the sexual abuse and torture of children, but, and this is very key to remember, as part of Satanist ritual.
But it is very apparent that satanic ritual abuse is just as prevalent in the elite of other parts of the British Isles and the world, and that it has only grown in scope in the decade since Dr. Coleman's list came out.
Good afternoon, it's Monday the 10th of August 2020. Welcome to UK Column News. They're after the children, Mike.
So it seems. So we're going to start off with guidance for public health officers, which says public health officers may direct, remove or request the constable to remove an individual to a place suitable for screening and assessment.
Here is the government's Behavioural Insights team. This is a multi-million-pound team to change the way we think.
Assessment, and they go on to say in 6.2, you may only exercise your powers on a child in the presence of A, an individual who has responsibility for the child, or B.
It's been so successful, they boast they can change the way we think and behave without us knowing it's been done.
If no such adult is present, an adult that you consider to be appropriate, having regards to the views of the child. So the question is, would that be a teacher?
COVID will come and go. COVID will come and go. COVID is just a gateway to bring in some new world agenda.
Would that be the principal of a school? Would it be, who would it be?
Could be a social worker that's popped up into
Social
this.
worker.
This is so dangerous.
Absolutely.
So dangerous.
Absolutely.
Well, every 8 minutes, a kid is getting abused, and they're telling us they don't have the resources to deal with it.
And think about now with this whole COVID-19 pandemic, or as some would call it, plandemic, the police have even more resources taken away to put into policing. Are you wearing your mask when you go into the shop? Are you staying 2 meters apart? Much more work for the police to do rather than focusing on protecting children from child sex abuse and SRA.
It's just a gateway to bring in some new world agenda to inject us all and kill us all, because these people in charge are off their heads.
So, we know that there is something very nasty going on in government. And what sort of politicians are running the country?
We are seeing police failings in respect to child prostitution hemorrhaging in this country.
One area we could look at, you've got the Jimmy Savile scandal, you've got the Rotherham scandal, you've got all these politicians in Parliament.
But we are
that
seeing
were
them on a provincial level. We're seeing them in Rochdale, Blackpool, Rotherham. We're seeing them in Oxford, Aylesbury,
There are all these
Swindon.
politicians in Parliament that were being investigated, like Cyril Smith and so forth, for abusing children sexually and doing other things.
London is one of the largest urban conurbations in the Western world. We haven't heard one thing about organised child prostitution in London, and the reason being is that those high up have been covering it up, and this goes right to the heart.
This is the state of British politics.
I'm also armed with this document. I won't show it to the camera, only because for legal reasons, but this is what is termed the RAINS list, and this is a list of people and places that have been involved in satanic ritual abuse.
Joseph Stein. He was described as Helen G's keeper, and he formerly had considerable power over her. Many of Helen's alters were hypnotized to believe that they were in love with him and that he loved her.
There is a pyramid structure to this, as there would be, because these are people that are obsessed with power and hierarchy.
But these cults, real cults, do exist, and all these crazy people, they are out there.
So at the very bottom, we have what are known as the spotters. The spotters will go out in the community and they will spot and they will highlight dysfunctionality and vulnerability.
Susan James, Records Department, Bristol Royal Infirmary, passes on messages and gives information about patients.
Once they're highlighted, this is then passed on to the group called the lookers, and the lookers again will also be spotting in the community. They may well have access to social services, to police indices, but they will then intelligence gather, so they can start putting the pieces together, and they will be putting together intelligence packages for these children to be groomed or abducted.
James Goodlett, the 6th of August 05, works at the Ministry of Defence.
Actually, in fact, he lies to me, Mum.
What does he do at the school?
He does sex to us. He kills babies there.
Right.
We eat babies. We drink their blood.
Okay.
But the upper groups that facilitate this on a global level, and always have done, are groups called the Bloods. And this isn't no gang nonsense. This is called the Blood. These are very wealthy families.
Lord Montagu, very important in the group and is known as the Grand Master.
Families in high esteem, but they answer to the next group called the Royals.
The 17th Duke of Norfolk. Arundel Castle and the Duke of Norfolk were mentioned by the 1st and 3rd Satanist ritual abuse survivors that Dr. Jon Coleman worked with.
Because other schools do it. All the Hampstead schools do it.
All ceremonies take place at night when the gates are locked.
They found kids in a cage, a dungeon that he was keeping. It opened the door and it was leading, of course it was leading, it always leads to the upper echelon of society.